Right. So you can see this part. The audio is clear, right? So yesterday we discussed these questions, fill in the blanks in listening. We did mostly listening questions, fill in the blanks. And I told you how these questions are important. These are very important questions. So even if these are easy but very important questions. So if you miss in these questions, it affects your listening as well as your other modules. For example, highlighting correct words. So your reading score here, fill in the blanks, you write. So writing as well. So these are very important. These are the most important questions among the listening. Right from dictation, so we just did recently. So today I'll be going to do summarize spoken text. So we'll be doing a few summarize spoken text. We'll discuss how we can get more score. So and yesterday we also discussed highlight correct summary. So highlight correct summary, we discussed that what actually means a summary and what things you need to focus on. So I'm just connecting this question to this one. So I told you yesterday, so when we do highlight correct summary, we also, this part is very much connected to summarize spoken text and summarize written text because some key things are common, right? So you don't, there is always something common here because the key skills, the requirement, academic requirement for highlight correct summaries or the skills you need for summarize spoken text, summarize written text are almost common. There you write, here you read. So you can very much assimilate them together. So they benefit, enhance your skills in others as well. So we discussed that when you write summarize, when you do this highlight correct summary, so what is the summary, the main idea, right? So even, first of all, I told you that even in these questions, all these three questions, whether MCQ multiple answers, MCQ single answer, or highlight correct summary, in all these questions, as well as in summarize spoken text, you need to listen to the audio very carefully. What happens, most students, they miss the audio. They take notes, they listen something, and then they start writing. And this time, most of they are not listening. Then they again listen a chunk and then start writing in note-taking. So this time they are not listening. And then they again listen. So what they get is not continuous whole of the audio, but some chunks of information. And when you have just chunks of information, you struggle even in if you're writing, you struggle in your writing. If you are doing highlight correct summary, yes, you struggle in all the tasks. If you are doing it writing, yes, because if you don't have proper information, the chances of grammatical and other errors are much higher for most students. I've seen this. So for the main thing is your attention should be undivided. So I told you, when you take notes, practice it. Note-taking is one of the key skills in any academic test or in any academic setting. You go to the university. The purpose of this test is to see your suitability for university classroom or academic classroom or something like that. So it assesses you on that basis. So even, for example, you are doing your uni studies, or you need to take notes as well, lecture notes and other things you need to prepare. So if you can't take lecture notes, yes, that's not that good an idea. You attend seminars. And so note-taking is one of the key skills, but make sure when you are taking notes, you don't miss the chunks of information. If you miss chunks, that could impact you. So what to focus on all the time, keep your ears open. You write, do the double task. Write something, keep all the time back to the audio, 1 or 2 words, the speaker stops and full stops, and there are chunks. Always write them, listen carefully, try to write in shorthand in lesser words. So, but if you have listened to the audio properly, even if you have fewer words, yes, it makes sense. And in here, you need this audio not for a long time. So you need your notes just for a few minutes. Because you have listened to audio, you have a few words, so you can just connect. So I said note-taking is important. You will be working on note-taking. I'll say every day, 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes spent on note-taking. If you do good in note-taking, you're listening, you're writing, and you're reading. Even every listening, it will definitely improve. It will help you in speaking as well, and it will help you in writing. 3 modules. Even in maybe reading as well, because this score goes to reading across all modules, it helps you. So we'll be working on 10-15 minutes, maybe tomorrow in the next session, especially on note-taking, how to improve your note-taking skills. And this exam, PTE, is a test of your skills. If you apply your academic skills properly, yes, you can get 90. This test is not. But you know, some people have just reduced this exam just to tricks. It's these academic tests. If you know what things are required in an academic setting, you apply those things here, this is just a piece of cake. You can get a wonderful score. Right, so yesterday we discussed that for listening, your listening should be, you know, uninterrupted, undivided, full attention. Take some notes, but don't miss. Another thing, these skills are important, elimination, but elimination only works if you have understood the audio, all parts well. Otherwise, usually I've seen students eliminate if they haven't listened to the audio properly, or if they haven't focused on the things which I've already told you yesterday. If they don't focus on those things, so if I ask them to eliminate, they most of the time eliminate the right answer. The reason is there because correct answers are paraphrased. They may look for exact words they heard them. So it's most of the time it's paraphrased. If you find plenty of exact words, eliminate plenty of data figures. That's not the thing of a summary. The summary we paraphrase. Data figures are not the main idea. We usually support the idea with data. So either we paraphrase them or we don't use them much. Context is important in the summary. So we discussed all these things yesterday. I'm not going much in detail into that today. So you can connect all these things into Summarise spoken text, right? So right. So today we are going to do Summarise spoken text, a few tasks. In exam, you get 2 or 3 tasks. So in the class as well, today we'll be doing at least 2 tasks. Maybe I'll give you 1 or 2 even as a homework. So yes, Sarjeet, you are asking for this task as well, right? This is the task which is, I'll say, one of the most important tasks in your PTE exam, one of the most important tasks in your PTE exam. And in listening also one of the most important tasks. The reason is other tasks you can manage, you don't need to write much. Here, you need to do most, even for example, you're writing an essay, right? You have plenty of, fixed words and stuff, you have templates and you can adjust those according to the topic. Right, doing Summarise written text. You are writing a summary after reading a passage because the words are there in front of you. You can adjust them. You can pick, some sentences I told you how to pick. So just focusing on those things, you can pick some pieces of information. You can write. Here, you need to do most from your side. It means you are contributing more from your side in this task than in any other tasks in PTE test. That's why I say if you are struggling in this task, you are not prepared for the test. But so for this task, I'll say first important thing is your note-taking. Right? Note-taking. So the audio is 60 to 90 seconds, 60 to 90 second audio. Usually 70, 80, 90 seconds. So in this time, I'll say listen to the audio, keep taking some notes. Most of the time, the title is, I'll say the title is within first couple of sentences, 2, 3 sentences. The title is usually there, especially what the speaker is going to talk about, because this is an audio in an academic setting, speaker always tell you, speakers, what they're going to talk about. So most of the time, the title is everything. If it's not there, you can guess as well. It's that sometimes they can give you exact stuff at the end, paraphrase stuff. So yes, be careful with the title so you understand. Don't try to write everything. Because if you're trying to write everything, you may miss some important chunks of information. Don't worry too much about writing numbers, figures, and stuff. So main thing is you write your notes, take your notes, but you're listening to the audio. Few things. One more thing, the speaker is not talking about a new idea in every sentence. No. There won't be more than 2-3 things explained in an audio, in any PTE audio. Not more than 2 or 3 things. That's very rare. The reason is the academic audio, whatever the speaker says, they keep on explaining it. And then they come to another point, then they keep explaining. Sometimes they can compare. So you don't need to write down everything. You need to structure, understand how the audio in academic settings or whether writing means how they are constructed. So every sentence is not a new piece of information. It's just sometimes an explanation, sometimes a comparison, example. So it's all related. So if you listen, you connect the threads of the story, you can write a few things, but still it depends on how much score you need. So on that basis, I will differentiate you. All right, if somebody needs 8 or somebody needs 7, 6, so it's a different. For example, I need to see how you have been doing, and then my feedback and suggestion for you will be according to your needs and your present level. But these are a few umbrella terms. As a general set of things, we can see that if I assume your basics are all right, and usually they are for most students, then listen to audio carefully, write down some words. Don't try to write everything here. If you have only a few words, you can just assemble the stuff. So you can write, but make sure when you are writing, you're listening back to the audio. You have written 1 or 2 words back to the audio. That you need to remind. Because that's the biggest problem I've seen students struggling in PTE listening. And listening, we have students who were around 50 and not one many, they have got either 90 or very close to 90. Because listening is the module you can improve most quickly. You have been in Australia, most of you, for a few years, maybe 2, 3, 4 years. You understand the accent, all the accents of general pronunciation, whether it's a British or Australian. So they are standard. So you usually understand them. Your listening is definitely improved. What we need to do, we need to just convert that listening into a score, your listening skills. Suppose somebody's working in a restaurant or cafe, they come across so many people, even they have maybe different accents, they may not speak that clearly as you hear in, still you understand. Somebody's suppose driving a taxi, there they come across so many customers from different linguistic backgrounds, you see their pronunciation is quite different. Still, and they don't speak as clearly as these, professionals do, or whose audio is recorded, and still you understand them. So nothing is wrong with your listening skills. We need to apply some academic skills into your listening to convert into 90 or near 90 pen score. And yes, we can do that. So first thing, note-taking, right? So we'll be working on as well note-taking. This is important in your summarized spoken text, in your retell lecture, MCQ single answer, MCQ multiple answers, so many questions. And that one, beep one, select missing words. So listening is so important, note-taking. So if you have some words, listen to the audio, keep writing, you can improve your even writing. For example, if I'm taking notes, I can almost write the whole audio for all information and still keep listening. So you need to train yourself that your ears are open, your hands moving. That's what you need to do. Not just one side. If you're listening, not writing, you'll forget it sometimes. If you're writing, you're not listening. That won't do. All right, so once you have done these, then we have the pattern. You can do that. So right now, focus on note-taking, and then we'll be discussing on the pattern, how you can use. So your title is important for your listening score as well, proper title, and it should be specific. If it's they are talking about post-COVID-19, you can say it's quite hot these days. So you say the speaker talks about COVID-19. This is so broad. So if you can just specifically reduce it more specific to what is in the audio, that's much better. COVID-19 is such a huge stuff. You can say the impact of COVID-19 in Australia. Are the measures Australian government has taken for COVID-19? Yes, more specific. Things you can say common symptoms and care. So whatever, so be more precise for a higher score. Just you write in this audio, the speaker talks about COVID-19. Okay, if you're targeting 8, 9, not good, I don't see that. I've seen mostly students, they write these. And mostly so many teachers I've come across, even on YouTube and Facebook, and they say, okay, you write down now, put a noun. It's not enough. It's okay for 6. Maybe if you have used for 7. If you're targeting high band score, this is not good. If you can just make it what specifically about it. So usually the title is in first couple of 2-3 sentences, right? So I'm going to play an audio, right? Take notes, and then we'll be doing it together, right?
Sometimes she felt bored. So happiness economics can help us get to these questions, and I'll try to give you some examples of this. Now, even though there's a lot of skepticism originally about using this surveys what people say make them happy. The number of reason that we are getting increasingly confident in doing so. One is that their consistent pattern, remarkable consistent pattern, that determines well-being across large samples of people, across countries, across the world, and over time. Some of the basic things that make people happy, and I will show you some of these: income, health, marital status, employment status. Some of these very basic things are remarkably consistent across countries, across world. So that gives us some sense that these surveys are picking up consistent patterns. And when we know what consistent patterns are, we can look how other things that very much more affect people's well-being. The environment and equality, the nature's institution raging on living, and all kinds of other things that very much more.
Yes. So for the speaker, it was even mentioned at the start what the audio is about. It's about the happiness economics, so means what makes people happy, and some surveys. Yes. So I give you 10 minutes time, 9 minutes time to write this, right?